Hello everyone, this is day one of my trading combine with Topstep. Going through a combine is not new to me. I've gone through many and I've been funded, but recently I am facing some challenges with my emotions and triggers and behaviors and choices in trading. So I think that by properly documenting this and reviewing it every day and delivering it in a way that's cohesive and structured will hopefully help me so I can review it and continue to be better. And I also hope that it helps you. If it does, that's great. But mainly I'm doing this to document and keep progressing and keep making positive changes with my strategy and routine and choices. So I'll be reviewing my performance daily. I will go over the Topstep account. I'll go over trade ideas that I had throughout the day and why I had them. And I will also go through my journaling process and review what has, or kind of show what's worked for me and why I structure my journal the way that I do. But yeah, it should be interesting. So today, and I'll also be giving a market recap and preview for tomorrow in regards to my plan and how I intend to trade it. So let's start with P&L. Today's P&L was $5.38 and 26 cents. I'm trading micros. Today I didn't trade more than a 4 lot in micros. I trade the S&P always. I have candlestick charts with volume profile, cumulative delta, a footprint chart, and then the depth of market. I execute all my trades and manage them through the depth of market, even with the volatility. That's just how I've always traded. The action today, well, I put in the previous day high every day, previous day low, previous day value high, and previous day value low, as well as the overnight high, overnight low. So this was today's high at 53.89, and I do the session high as well as the session low. So we sold off, and I was expecting a retrace from this move. We came below the 50% retracement, and price stopped right at that level. At that point, I switched to long and being biased long. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trade ideas. The first one I got chopped up quite a bit. I kept trying to short this and kept getting stop out. And this is a habit that I have that I need to be aware of and focus on, is when I have a loss, I get right back in, and I run pretty tight stops. Even with this volatility, I'm running 16 tick stops, which we'll get into the stats here in a bit. But I kept trying to short this. Go to a 5-second. So I kept trying to short this 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then on the 5th time, this trade basically broke even. But what happens with that is that when I don't take a loss and stop and just observe, the trade may work out for me, but at that point, I'm already in the mode of trying to recover losses. So I don't let the trade run, and I don't see information objectively, and I get tunnel vision. So multiple losses in a row is a trigger for me, and it's something that I'm working on. The 50% was right around 200, right at 200. So we were still above the 50% retracement retracement at this time, which is why I was still leaning short. So I got out of that, sat out for a little bit, and then we broke down below the 50% retracement and we retraced up to it right here. So then I knew that I wanted to enter short again. I did at the bottom of this consolidation. I didn't wait for my best entry price because it would have been up towards like 193. I got in at 190. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but again, that is something like a process goal that I'm working on, is waiting for my best entry because there was time to get in here. And when I do that, and I do have the best entry, I don't have to take as much heat and it allows me to see information better. So I got short, exited here. I think I moved my stop too fast. In fact, I know I did because it came down quite a bit more. So that was my second idea. Once we started trading back above the 50% retracement, we consolidated here for a little bit. Some sellers came into the market, but they weren't able to push it below this 208 level. So when I saw heavy buying here, I got in to the long side and exited there for 75 ticks. And then had one more short. I had a short. So this support held, we came up, and then it just started to drift down, and I didn't think that this was going to hold, so I front ran it a little bit. And again, I was running a tight stop, so I took a loss there, and then I re-entered right away. That's when I exited. So, and again, I'm not in these trades for very long. That's like 26 seconds. And again, this is a very fast, volatile market, but I could probably work on letting my trades run a little more. So that's the recap of today. Tomorrow, I am curious to see if price is going to come down further. I have a level in at 50.75. This is the volume profile for this month. So we popped above this value here, traded back down into it, rejected. So I don't know if I want to trade it to the short side. I'm almost leaning to the long side. I feel like 55.34 is possible. I mean, we hit it once. Access up there. Yeah, I'm thinking to the long side, so I need to pick out some clear targets. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I'll be on in the morning live streaming. So the next section is my journaling process. I have built my trading journal in Airtable. That is just what works best for me. I am also going through Jared Tendler's book, Mental Game of Trading. So I'm segmenting my C game and my B game, and then I'll keep building my A game. I'm not through the book all the way, so I'm building this as I go. But it has been very helpful. So the one tab that I work out of the most during the day is my real-time trigger and behavior tracker. So I record the date, I write down the trade idea or event, I specify the short time frame setup and long time frame setup, and I watch order flow a lot. So a lot of it is just sometimes scalping and order flow. But these were my trades for today, and I calculate the number of ticks gained or lost, whether or not I followed my pre-trade checklist. And then this is when it starts to get into how am I feeling and what am I thinking before the trade and also after the trade. So I note any pre-trade triggers, any thoughts that I might be having. So like on this trade, I wrote letting go, having waited for this move. Enough consolidation has happened for it to move out of this range. So when I'm thinking things like that and like letting go, I was just letting go a lot today. But when I'm thinking things like that and I remember that and remember that the way that I operate and the choices that I make are based on how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, I want to start looking for these things in the future. So I want to remind myself I can let go. I can be objective. It is probabilistic and I will incur losses, and being okay with that. So just notating anything that happens before the trade. I have 3 sections: negative disruptive emotions, overconfidence, and then neutral constructive emotions. Typically, I don't have a lot of overconfidence or overactivation emotions. I tend to live in the negative or neutral and constructive. On good days, I have a lot of constructive and neutral positive emotions. But bad days, you'll see a lot of these highlighted. And I can just click here and add from a predefined list that I've made. Then I write down the behavior or action that I took. This can also be used for not taking an action. I saw a trade or an idea, I could write down if I didn't take that trade and why, and then also what I was thinking that possibly caused me to take that action despite having a positive edge. I notate if I've followed my rules. This trade is the one that I showed you, and I guess I had a trade before that, but I showed you this one and I broke my rule of 2 losing trades. And what I do there is I write down rules that I have. So here's my rules. Here's the impact that they have, or I believe that they have on my trading. Position size is marked as 10 because when I go over my position size, I don't do well. So those are pulled directly into here. So I can just notate what ones I broke and then again, look back as to why I potentially broke that. And then so the post-trade trigger, or the trigger that happened during the idea, was having multiple losers for one idea. And then my thoughts, I'm not good. I can't time my entries. I can't see it. And then I write down any emotions that come up from that. What am I feeling? Write it out. And then an alternative response. So those are just some of the things that I do when I track my trades. Main journal, I have a pre-market routine checklist, and then just some notes from the day before, and just a bunch of other data. But I will go over that in another video. I think the last part is just going over my Topstep data. So I'll throw that on the screen, and I will be on tomorrow.